The final 2 days of this months and months long short film. We already shot the exteriors up in beautiful Washington State. Now we had to do our interiors in this cave set in South LA. Here we go.
And I think most of your coverage is going to be face and chest anyway.
We're very tight. We're tight show.
Yeah.
We
There's
have,
just a couple of moments where the camera goes on the ground right here and we look out that way.
and that's kind of what me and Foster are going to look at, the two widest shots
Okay.
right now, if you want to see.
That would be great. I think maybe we look at what that framing is, and then that can help decide what we want to do as well.
But then on day 2, we have handheld and we're kind of looking all around.
That's the, I guess there's 4 wide shots though.
Shooting in this cave set almost gave me whiplash how different it is from shooting in nature. You know, when you're shooting on location, particularly in nature, you're really just at the mercy of the sun. You're just trying to work around the sun schedule, plan your shots and angles accordingly. And when you're working in a set, you are creating any light that you see from scratch. We also had a much bigger crew in the LA days. This was for a couple reasons. One, we didn't have to pay for travel expenses, which were crazy for the Washington trip. You know, you have to fly people out, have room for them to stay there. We didn't really have the resources for it in Washington. Here, we could have enough people to actually get the job done and not kill ourselves in the process. Also, you need grips who know what they're doing for safety or rigging lights overhead. Can't have those fallen on actors and crew members, can we? All right, we're setting up for day 1 in the LA cave set. We just had to make the big call of what do we do with the floor. The set had this like rubber cut up tire flooring that works pretty well, especially in the wider shots, but we have some close-ups next to the floor. We had to make the call, do we spend like an extra hour both in the setup and the breakdown to put in our own dirt? Ultimately, we decided it's worth it. So that's what we're doing now. Scooping out a lot of dirt, the fake rubber dirt, which makes a lot of dust, which is why we got masks on. A little extra work up front, but I think it's gonna pay off really well. So we're making excellent time. We've been here for an hour and 15 minutes. And like so much stuff is set up already. I dedicated 4.5 hours at the beginning of the day just for setup, art, camera, and lighting. And then we just have, I think, 7 shots to get off after that. So I think we're doing great on time. And early on, there was a bit of a dance between the grip and lighting team and Michael Corsi, our production designer, who's flying in furniture and set deck. Meanwhile, lighting team's going up on ladders, adjusting things. The walls of this cave set are made out of styrofoam that's painted. It's really easy to move around. We had to figure out the best configuration. It was like playing Tetris with boulders made out of foam. So while we're figuring out how the set's gonna look, Tony was sewing some wig hair onto the monster's hat brim. And then Thatcher came for his call time a little later in the day, and she started getting him in makeup while we still finished setting up. You can see the lighting team adding some duvetine to this overhead fixture here to break up the ambient light, I think. And the cool thing about directing that a lot of people don't realize and that isn't talked about on YouTube because so many YouTube channels are like cinematography focused is as the director of this film, I didn't really know what the lighting people were doing that day. And I didn't really care because all I had to do was talk to my DP Casey, get on the same page with him about how we wanted it to generally look and feel, and then that's their job. And by the way, these conversations happen ahead of the shoot. We had done storyboarding, shot listing, a whole test shoot in a studio. We were well on the same page before we rolled up to set.
So in that shot, we just need him to hit that freaking jar. When he holds that jar into the light zone, we just want it to hit the goal and go crazy.
In front of it. But
I know what they're doing. We had talked earlier about, okay, we want it to look like a real cave. That's important. We don't want the lighting to be overly stagey or theatrical. But at the same time, we do want to have some control. We want to have some beams of light coming through from potential like cracks in the cave walls. The challenge is just doing that without making it look too fake, because that's a real easy thing that we could run into with this cave set is that we're shooting all this beautiful stuff in nature. We get into the set, suddenly it's very clear that we're in a set. But yeah, when it comes to lighting, cameras, lenses, anything technical, as the director, you don't need to know all this stuff. It can be nice. It can give you a little bit of extra control with how you communicate to your teams, but in general, I find it best to just communicate in terms of like feeling and intention. Like what's the purpose of the scene? Communicate that to your DP. Let them translate that to how that's gonna actually look. What kind of key light you're gonna use, you know, what kind of, if it needs a rim light or whatever. I don't know what they're doing. I don't really know why they put the duvetine on that light. I'm assuming they put it to break it up, but Whatever, it looked good. That's all that mattered.
We're gonna get a little more of this overhead blue, but I do think we want something on the back to see the glistening.
100%.
So I don't know what that is. I don't think it's a light that's directly hitting it, maybe, but it's maybe
This just
something.
went up a little texture.
We're trying to get reflection more than lighting it, you know? Like, if you light it, we're not going to see it, but reflections we'll see. Maybe I could just hold up my phone.
Did it just go
How's that? There's no just went up. I'm on channel 3.
Same with actors, you know, you don't have to tell them, say it like this. You can tell them the point of this scene or this reaction is to do this in the story or to make the audience feel this way about you. Tell them that. They can figure it out and translate that and probably do a much better job than you would if you were to micromanage. But I gotta say, one big relief of the cave shoot was no more bug sprayer smokers. We had a real haze machine in there creating atmosphere, which really does a lot to help sell the realism of the cave set, just to have some kind of atmosphere in the air, some volumetric lighting going on. The other thing that helped a lot with the cave set was we got these water sprayers from Home Depot, and before every single shot we would spray down the walls with some water just to mist them, just to help give it some like specular reflections on the cave walls and make it feel a little more dank, and again a little less like spray painted foam. So we were finally ready to have Thatcher stand in, or really lie in, for the first shot of the day. He ended up lying on this rope bed for probably an hour straight while we honed in the lighting and the framing, and part of the challenge was just perfectly lining up his face with another shot that we did over in Washington. So we used an overlay or onion skin feature on one of our monitors to see that image superimposed on top of the current image.
Slightly, yeah, right there, stop. Okay. Now we are, it seems like we're lined up.
Yeah, looks like I moved. It's hard to tell.
I know, I moved.
It's a pretty fun image, actually. Just hair and like his necklace a little bit. I try to get his necklace in frame.
I like that. I like what you're doing there.
And then there were just a lot of micro adjustments of the position of his face, the bed, the ring on his necklace. And then finally, when we were honed in, I set up a tiny mic to capture his breaths. He didn't have a shirt, so I couldn't have him labbed up. And yeah, did a very professional hand slate to sync it to camera. You know, got to stay humble.
There it is.
BTS, you got that?
Oh yeah. This is professional. Okay, ready? And action. Hold on. Quiet on set, please. Okay, we're good.
Camera stands by.
Ready?
Take a seat.
So my eyes open on action, or just give it a beat or two.
You can give it a beat or two. Or if you want, I can clap my hands and wake you up.
I just do it on my own time once I
Alright.
see action.
For sure. Action.
But yeah, we finished that shot and we were actually ahead of schedule, considerably ahead of schedule. And I made the mistake of announcing that, to which Casey, my DP, said, "Don't say that, never tell us that." And the next shot I figured would be quicker and easier to shoot. It's a static shot of the wall. It's just like a reverse shot. We have Oliver waking up and then we have what he's looking at, which is just part of the set. There's no movement, there's no performances, but it still ended up taking quite a while to get, because this was where we had to make all of our art decisions, like where's all the props gonna be, the set deck, even the lighting on that side of the cave. So yeah, I guess Casey was right, because we did end up falling behind schedule on this seemingly super simple shot. It's always when you let your guard down and you think something's gonna be easy that things go wrong, without fail. But it was so cool watching Michael basically paint the frame with all of the objects that we'd rented for this shoot, and then watching the lighting team doing the same thing. The little pools of light and beams that they'd created on the ground and on the walls of the cave. Everything, again, was just so precise in a way that I usually don't have the luxury to even aim for.
Let's roll camera. We're going to do this all again, Chris. So we're going to do just the scale. Then we're going to do bed to scale. Then we're going to do a VFX roll through. And we're going to do that all again with no shaft. Here we go, guys. Last shot before lunch.
Okay, let's roll camera. A little slower and more gradual on the easing in and out, you know?
Yep.
I would split the difference there a little faster than that.
We broke for lunch, actually running late. We got sweet greens. It was really their fault. They took forever. And then we set up our first big shot of the cave set for after lunch. It was a dolly move that was going to follow Oliver's hands as he's weighing the gold over across the room to deposit it in the treasure chest. And that was going to reveal the gold inside. It's going to reveal his name carved into the chest. So there's a lot of marks to nail, and the framing is very tight on the shot. So it did take quite a bit of rehearsal.
We should be okay.
And then we don't know the exact blocking with like the lantern yet. Let's assume that we don't move any lanterns right now. He scoops it out, puts it in a little
I'm gonna take this
sack,
guy off.
and then potentially turns this way to like have the camera be able to directly follow the sack. Assuming that doesn't look insane to do a total 180 on camera, I think we'll get away with it. And then the camera's going with it, and then he sits down here, so the gold's here, so we'll do that.
You want to pick which ones he's going to pick up here?
So probably this one. Yeah, so
Well,
this
it's,
one,
so
I just
yeah.
like gaze into it. Just you can really pour it in, by the way. It's very easy to reset this, so just pour it in.
And then I put this back on the table behind me.
No, feel it out. This is gonna take some searching.
All right, ready? Rolling on my little thing and action.
And even though he doesn't have any lines in
there you
this
go.
shot, it's shots like this that make me appreciate having great actors like Thatcher as our lead in this film. He had such precise marks to hit, but all the marks are in midair, so you just have to have your hand and your face in the right place and just remember that.
So smooth. Wow.
And on top of that, he's got to catch the light with the props with his hands. He's got to not block the camera. He has to be in the perfect position at the perfect time, all while making it look totally natural and just flow perfectly. No awkward moments.
Should have just rolled on that. That was great.
Finally, we nailed it, and it was very satisfying to land on that Oliver Brody carving on the chest that I made. And that was really going to be the hardest shot that we had for the rest of the day. The next shot was a bit challenging. It was like a shadow play going on the cave wall.
Hat on, you do this, you grab this, put that on, and look and see the photo, step over.
So you see what Oliver's doing in a shadow while the camera's focused on some foreground art on his table. Thatcher was having some fun dancing in the shadows here. And then there was a little close-up after that, shooting a reflection in a picture frame. We will rack the photograph to you. And so basically you'll hear, I'll cue rack, and then you can just like take a beat or two and then say the line. Walk off frame.
Oh, there he is. There you are, Thatcher. Wherever you just were. That was your spot. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Guys, I'm sorry. It's my first dance.
Do we want his eyes though?
Getting a little anxiety. Yeah, there we go. Way too lit. Yeah, bring it down slowly. It's hard because you have glass in it. You kind of, well, the glass is for the reflection part. Yeah.
And set.
Okay, so 1 and action. Rack. I think we got it.
Great. Thanks,
let's
guys.
cut it.
Tails?
Yep.
Tail slate. Tail
Now,
slate.
did we slate it already?
I don't think so.
No, you did.
Someone clap in front of the goddamn camera.
There we
And take whatever. This is the take.
The last one.
I love this. I love what's going on here. Camera cuts.
Overall, there weren't really many surprises from here on out for the first day. That again is another big difference between the location shooting and the soundstage shooting, is that level of control. It really makes things a lot more predictable. And then we had the final shot of the day.
Final shot with human Oliver Brody coming up. Very exciting. And final shot of day 5 of 6.
Which required rigging the lid of the chest to some wood on some C-stands. And again, I'm so used to scrappy DIY filmmaking that it's always just a nice surprise and delight when something just happens, you know, like Michael, the grips, they collab and unscrew the hinges, set it up on a piece of wood and some C-stands before I even noticed. And great crews can really anticipate needs like that. It's hard to go back once you get used to it. Started day 2 feeling real optimistic. Home stretch, final day of the whole shoot. And as usual, the moment you feel that way, that's when things go wrong. Pardon the interruption, there's no ad or sponsored section in this video, but I wanted to let you know that if you like this video, if you like learning the nitty-gritty that I sometimes don't have time to get into on this channel, you're gonna love Friday Film Notes, my mostly weekly free newsletter. You can join at standardstoryco.com by just entering your email address. I'll send you a couple freebies when you sign up. And even better, there's a special offer that only people on my email list will be getting very soon that you might be very interested in. So now's the best time to join. standardstoryco.com. You can go back to the video now. So we'd scheduled a luxurious, after my sleep-deprived Washington shoot, 12-hour turnaround. So I woke up refreshed, perky, rented another U-Haul van for the big loadout at the end of the day, got to set in my U-Haul, noting a few people already waiting outside, and I'm early too, so I'm like, wow, things are looking good. Then my phone rang, and it was our site rep saying that he was having car trouble and he was gonna be 45 minutes late, which wouldn't be a big deal except for the fact that he's the only one with a key to the set to let us actually in. So on top of the extra time I needed for the key art photos, we lost an extra 45 minutes and anxiety set in. While we were waiting to be let in, some of us grabbed food at a nearby pupuseria. Turns out I was starving, so maybe that was a blessing. And then Casey and I used that downtime to strategize how we were gonna make up that 45 minutes. We found an opportunity later in the day that we could try to pick up the pace and make up that time. I really wanted to avoid going into overtime with our bigger crew, so, you know, the pressure was on. We were already doing long days too, so let's get it done.
So we're on day 2, last day of the shoot. We had a late start, couldn't get into location, so we kind of lost 45 minutes right off the top, but we are hoping to make it up. We're doing more of a 360 lighting setup today because it's POV found footage style. I think we can get away with it. It's nice that we have an opportunity to change the aesthetic totally, and it works for the movie. We're rebuilding the cave, we're redoing art, we're making it look like an old, aged cave with spider webs, creepy crawlies, and we're just gonna have a spotlight in front of the camera that's illuminating most of the cave. We're also shooting the poster, the key art, the thumbnail photo, which we're treating just like a normal shot because it really can make the difference between a short getting 100,000, a million views versus like 14,000 views, and then you're just like, people, it's a good short, but nobody knew because the thumbnail was weak, so nobody clicked it. So we'll do that first, then we start shooting.
Finally, when the lighting was getting closer, we went over, we started working on those key art photos, and I really treated this like any other shot. We did a full lighting setup. Fortunately, this also doubled as prep for a similar shot that we actually had to do later in that day. But unfortunately, it did take a whole hour to get the photos, which is double what I'd allocated.
Okay, turn over your shoulder again. If you can cheat it closer here. Yeah.
I can give you a little more light here too.
Oh, that works. That works. Yeah, that's the light we needed.
After we got the photos done, the camera department prepped for those handheld shots again, and then Michael furiously aged the set with cobwebs and dust. We had a full art reset of the cave for day 2. We had to make it look all old and creepy, so that's what he was working on.
What's that material? It's just like
Yeah, so this is called Spanish moss.
Okay.
It's you can buy boxes of it. It's basically dried greens. Really good for sort of creepy cave sets. Very easy to install, and then it adds a lot of production value right away.
By the way, to make the spider webs, he used a device called a webcaster that combines an air compressor with a hot glue gun to shoot out hot glue. Didn't know that's how they made spider webs in movies. So I was camera operating for the found footage style shots here, but since my character who's holding the camera is supposed to be wearing a jacket and there's no air conditioning on the set, I was just drenched in sweat by the end of it. Totally worth it though, because when the crew gets bigger, as the director, you can feel a little detached from the physical making of a film, but getting to swing around the Alexa 35 on the Easy Rig was easily the most fun part of the shoot for me, at least for the cave days. And then the post-lunch shots that we had were the scary climax of the film shots.
Slip that. So cute.
Copy. We're here we go. Action. Walk. Tilt your head to the left more into the tunnel light as you do it. Wait 1 sec. Okay, go ahead.
I like that.
But thanks to our earlier planning, they went pretty smoothly, and we clawed back that lost morning time. And then finally, it was the grand finale, a shot involving a blood pump rig. These always make me kind of nervous. You know, you never know how the blood's gonna actually flow out of a blood pump. There's only so much control you have. And then resetting and cleaning up the blood is always a big time-consuming pain. So you know you're only gonna get so many shots at this thing. Now, our first take we did was decent. It was usable for sure. I remember being like, wow, all right, not bad. Second take, barely any blood came out. No good. And then for the final attempt, I told our special effects artist, give it everything. Just give me all the blood. And we adjusted the tubing a little bit to flow a little closer to the camera, and it was perfect. Lots of blood, timed exactly right. That's the one for the movie. I'm sure of it. Love to see those shots come together.
Is that the show, guys?
Guys, that is a wrap on The Lost Fortune of Oliver Brody. In real life, when you wrap a movie, sometimes there's a rock stuck in the camera, so you don't get to really celebrate. But we wrapped the picture, and we're gonna say it again. We're done. Woo! Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks.
We wrapped the shoot. We had champagne, took a celebratory crew photo.
Happy wrap, Christopher.
Woo, Chris!
Congrats.
That celebration lasted for all of 2 minutes, then the work began again. We had to furiously clean up and pack everything. The camera and grip departments were pretty quick, but the art department's cleanup was a bit of a marathon. We had to sweep up the entire dirt floor that we created. We had to clean and box up all of these dusty, dirtied props that we'd rented for the returns the next day. I think Tony and I finally got home at about 11 p.m., but then the grind didn't stop there. The entire next day was just a returns tour of the San Fernando Valley with the U-Haul van. We had like 5 or 6 stops that day, dropping off all the rentals. And then even then, our house was still a disaster zone after we finished. And then I had to pay everybody and organize all their receipts and do all that stuff. So look, if I had known how challenging putting this whole film together and how long it would actually take to do, I definitely wouldn't have done it. I probably would have just done a feature instead. Like if you're gonna spend a year on a project, you might as well just make a feature, right? But now that it's finally sunk in, that this ambitious shoot is over, I'm really grateful. The overwhelming emotion is gratitude. You know, I got to make my first period film. I got to visit and explore some amazing places in nature that I'd always wanted to go to. I got to bring a character that Chris and I had joked about for years to life finally. And gratitude for every single person who donated their time, energy, skills, their belief into this project. It truly feels like they saw something in the film, in our team, and it's kind of a humbling reminder of how far I've come to be able to work with such great people. And gratitude for my amazing girlfriend, by the way, for not only putting up with this months-long obsession, but literally making it possible by jumping into the deep end and doing multiple jobs on the film. Oh, and also gratitude for you for watching these YouTube videos, for reading my newsletter, standardstoryco.com, by the way, for following along for all this stuff, because none of it would have been possible without your support. So I really hope everything that I've learned on this film and share with you here and continue sharing will be helpful to you in your own projects. That's the only way I can pay you back. There's still a long way to go to get this project finished and released here on the channel, so stay tuned for the whole post-production process, which will be getting documented here too. Let's make some movies.